I'm here with Alexander Mercouris, editor-in-chief of the Duran. Alexander, let's talk about Amy Robach, Project Veritas, and Jeffrey Epstein. Hot mic, Amy Robach, who is the co-anchor of 2020 when she was on ABC News. She also co-anchors, fills in for Good Morning America. So as you said, before we did this video, actually, she's a big-time journalist. She's the real deal. And she was caught on hot mic. Let me just read you what she said, yes. Alexander. This was given to Project Veritas, who then put the video up. So yes. Someone leaked it to Project Veritas. Project Veritas then posted the video. Here's what we got, Alexander. This is via The Hollywood Reporter. In the video, Robach is shown expressing frustration that the network did not publish a 2015 interview that she had conducted with Virginia Guiffre, who has accused the late Jeffrey Epstein and Prince Andrew of sexual misconduct. Quote, "I've had this story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts," she says in the video. "We would not put it on air. First of all, I was told, 'Who's Jeffrey Epstein?' No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. We were so afraid that we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will. That also quashed the story. It was unbelievable what we had. Bill Clinton, we had everything. I tried for 3 years to get it on, to no avail. And now it's all coming out. And it's like these new revelations. And I freaking had it all. I'm so pissed right now. Every day I get more and more pissed. What we had was unreal." Alexander, I didn't play the video for copyright issues and demonetization issues, all that stuff. I didn't want to get a strike, but I'll put the link of the Project Veritas video. Take a look at it. What I just read is pretty much verbatim what Robach says. So Alexander, what do you make of it?
Well, I find it very disturbing, and it doesn't surprise me. And if I may say, the fact that the palace, she means, of course, Buckingham Palace, was making all the kind of threats that it was making, is not surprising, but it should not deter a major media organization like ABC from actually publishing this kind of material if they believe that there is substance to it. Now, can I just say again, and I want to make this very clear, we're not in this interview pointing our fingers at anybody. We're not saying anybody's guilty of anything. But one organization is clearly guilty of something, and that is ABC, which had all this information about all this abuse and kept it secret. And there were two things there that filled me particularly with concern. Firstly, this extraordinary comment, "Who is Jeffrey Epstein?" Of course they knew who Jeffrey Epstein was. That is ridiculous. You have the world's, the most powerful sexual predator or pedophile in the United States, and you pretend you don't know who he is. I mean, that's just silly. That already points to something very bad going on within ABC. The second is, you suppress a story like this because you're not going to get interviews with Will and Kate. I mean, that seems to me beyond bizarre, actually. Absolutely beyond bizarre. You say that the palace is going to bring a case against you if you publish this material. Where is the palace going to bring that case? You're an American news company. You are operating in the United States. What you say is going to be broadcast there. You have the protection of the First Amendment. What is the palace going to come after you for?
They could restrict access, though. That they can definitely do, correct?
Oh, absolutely they can. But I mean, I know. Well, indeed. But I mean, if you believe in your story and you have all this material, then let's not forget that in 2015, Jeffrey Epstein is already a convicted paedophile. He's already got a conviction which is based on his confession in the past. You can get all the records of all his various trips around the world and his famous plane, his Lolita Express plane. You can find out who exactly was visiting him. All this reporting that we're doing that has been done recently. There's no reason why it couldn't have happened in 2015. You can always frame your story in such a way as to make factual statements which don't actually convict anybody or of anything, or even directly accuse anybody of anything. You can say very simply, there's all this information, there's all these important people involved. All we want is to ask some questions. It's the second thing, and actually I get to say something, a third thing. Now, I may be reading more into Amy Robach's comments than is there, but I find the way that she refers to some of the people here, especially Bill Clinton, implies that she still knows more than is coming out. Now, I don't want to take this too far. I'm not sure, and
well, it was a hot mic moment, so I mean,
exactly, a hot mic moment, and it may be exactly, but it may be that ABC is sitting on more information than they have so far published. And if that is true, then that's very bad, and they need to publish it now. There's no reason to hold back on this anymore. And can I just lastly say that ABC has published a completely mealy-mouthed so-called apology, so-called explanation, saying that their reporting standards were not as high as those which they aspire to. Well, all I can say about that, it's summed up in one word: that's pathetic. I mean, that's not even a proper explanation of what really happened.
Yeah, let me read you what Robach said as in response to ABC's statement. She actually tells the Hollywood Reporter a little more about why they didn't run with this story, even though this would have put Robach, this would have made her into a superstar. She's already a big name, so it would have made her into a superstar. So she's obviously frustrated, and that comes through in the hot mic moment. So Robach, who co-anchors 2020 and reports for Good Morning America, provided a more extensive response explaining her comments, which she did not intend to be aired. As a journalist, as the Epstein story continued to unfold last summer, I was caught in a private moment of frustration, she said. I was upset that an important interview I had conducted with Virginia Roberts didn't air because we could not obtain sufficient corroborating evidence to meet ABC's editorial standards about her allegations. My comments about Prince Andrew and her allegation that she had seen Bill Clinton on Epstein's private island were in reference to what Virginia Roberts said in that interview in 2015. I was referencing her allegations, not what ABC News had verified through our reporting. So that's Robach giving a little more detail to ABC's explanation of this hot mic moment.
Yes, and as I said, we do want to stress on this program that we're not making allegations against any specific person, and that's what she's doing. But I come back to what I'm saying. Virginia Roberts gives an interview. She makes all kinds of allegations. It is absolutely possible for a media organization like ABC News, if they wanted to do some basic reporting, they could have corroborated many of the things that she said. We're dealing with a man, Jeffrey Epstein, who is a convicted paedophile.
If they wanted to. If they wanted to, that's the key.
If they'd wanted to.
They didn't
want to.
Exactly.
Look at the question, who is Jeffrey Epstein? They didn't want to go there.
They were told not to go there. They had orders not to go there.
They had orders not to go. They were determined not to go there, and they didn't.
Alexander, for her to mention... Okay.
That's what's so disturbing about
Right.
this.
For her to mention the royal family in her hot mic moment, though, doesn't that signal to you that the royal family, the powers that be in the UK, basically told all the media organizations, don't touch this story? I mean, this is after he was convicted,
Yes.
the whole Florida thing,
Yes.
and after he was convicted, so he's a known convicted pedophile. The royal family probably issued an order to all media organizations in the UK, and the US, and Australia, everywhere. Don't cover this story for the sake of Andrew. I mean, it's logical that they would do that, is it not?
Of course it is, and the palace, Buckingham Palace, does this regularly. I mean, that's their job. Their job is to protect members of the royal family. Absolutely. I mean, one shouldn't criticise them for doing that, but they can't give orders to ABC, or at least they shouldn't be able to give orders to ABC. They can make threats. They can make legal threats. They can do all sorts of things. They can say, if you publish this story, you're not getting any more interviews with Will and Kate, which I still find very bizarre. But at the end of the day, if you are a media agency with integrity and you have all this information, because Virginia Roberts comes to you and gives you all this information, and it's all out there, you can go out and you can corroborate all kinds of things. You might not be able to corroborate allegations against specific individuals. And, we're not on this program saying that information, that corroboration is there. But there was lots of other things that corroborated what Virginia Roberts, much of what Virginia Roberts was saying. I mean, I watched recently a film. You can find it on the internet without any great difficulty. There were some guys who recently went to Jeffrey Epstein's island and secretly and went around with their cameras and photographed all sorts of really extraordinary things there, gargoyles and you name it. But the thing that really came out was they said that all the local people in all the surrounding islands knew what was going on this island. It was not a secret there. All you needed to do was to send a reporter to find out. You could have found out all the information from all the logs, as has been recently done. You had a massive story. ABC had a massive story. And Amy Robach, I can entirely understand why she's frustrated, because some very basic reporting of the sort that an organization like ABC is fully capable of. I mean, that's their job. If they'd done it in 2015, all this would have come out in 2015. They didn't do it because they didn't want to. They were told not to do it, and they didn't do it. They could have done it, and they chose not to.
I'm going to correct you, Alexander. In an ideal world, it's their job. We think it's their job, but their job is they were actually doing their job. They were protecting the powers that be. They were protecting them. Is that not true? I mean, yes, if they were real journalists, they would have, this is a massive story. They would have broke this. But that's not their job, is not to break news. Their job is to protect the elite, protect the corrupt, protect those in power. And Amy Robach mentioned two very powerful people or organizations.
Yes.
The Palace, and she said Clinton. I mean, she said it in her hot mic moment.
Yes.
It's there.
Alex, I stand corrected. What you say is exactly right. These are not providers of news. These are gatekeepers of news.
Bravo.
They make that's what they are.
That's why people come here, so we can give them what's really going on.
Exactly right.
Alexander,
exactly right.
Let me read you one last paragraph from the Hollywood Reporter, a couple paragraphs so you can wrap it up. In the video, Robach also expresses confidence that Epstein's death was a murder, not a suicide, and says that Ghislaine Maxwell should be worried about her safety. Quote, "Do I think he was killed? 100% yes, I do," she says. "He made his whole living blackmailing people. There were a lot of men on those planes, a lot of men who visited that island, a lot of powerful men who came into that apartment. In an interview with NPR in August, Guiffre expressed confusion about why her 2015 interview with ABC was not broadcast. Quote, "I viewed the ABC interview as a potential game changer," she said. "Appearing on ABC with its wide viewership would have been the first time for me to speak out against the government for basically looking the other way and to describe the anger and betrayal victims felt." An Epstein attorney, Alan Dershowitz, told NPR that he pressed ABC not to publish the interview. This really reminds me with NBC and Harvey Weinstein as well, what went on there, where they suppressed that story. Alexander, what do you make of this couple of paragraphs?
Well, I mean, it's very intriguing. I mean, Amy Robach is not somebody who you consider who is easily called a conspiracy theorist, and here she is. She is very suspicious about the circumstances of Jeffrey Epstein's death, and I come back to what I was saying. I've been saying all along. I mean, you now have a forensic pathologist. We did a recent video about this, who's also concerned, who's also saying that the facts just don't add up. And we have not had a proper investigation of that death at all. Instead, what we have is silence, radio silence, both about the circumstances of his death and about the circumstances of this investigation. And we have Virginia Guiffre, as I think she now is, complaining that interviews that she was doing back in 2015 were simply not getting published. Well, it seems to me, however you spin this, that there are lots and lots of people who don't want to get to the bottom of the Jeffrey Epstein story.
Yeah. I mean, Robach, even as she was trying to explain her frustration, she lets out some more doubts as to the official narrative, what's going on. Where is Ghislaine Maxwell? Where is she?
Well, indeed.
Where is she?
Well, indeed.
We can't answer
well,
that, obviously. I wish we could analyze it and give some clarity as to what's going on, but where is she?
Where indeed is she? I mean, there was apparently one public appearance, I think in California somewhere, where she turned up, and it was very obviously very carefully staged.
Photoshopped, they say. They say it was photoshopped.
Photoshopped, exactly. But as I said, where is she, and where is she, and where is she hiding? I've no idea.
No one has any idea. But Barr has to get to the bottom of this, Alexander.
Exactly.
The DOJ has to get to the bottom. If they don't, it's terrible if they don't.
It's absolutely. I mean, the curtain, but one senses that the curtain is coming down.
Why do you say that?
Epstein is dead. There doesn't seem to be any real energy behind him.
Maybe.
Maybe. Anyway, but there doesn't seem to be any energy any longer in these investigations. There's no sign of any real investigations, whether into his death or alleged death, or into the substantive allegations of abuse, or to all these speculations about all these other people who may have been involved. There is no sign of any real investigation is going on.
So the strategy, to wrap it up, Alexander, is basically the mainstream media is not going to cover the story at all. As Amy Robach expresses her frustration there, going all the way back from 2015. The mainstream media has been ordered, don't touch this story, even though Fox News did report on this a week ago, which is very interesting.
Yes.
The rest of the mainstream media is not touching this.
No.
When we do videos on Epstein, they're demonetized right from the get-go, and there's no chance of getting those monetized at all, which means they don't get any exposure. They don't show up in search. They don't show up in suggested videos, nothing like that. So the videos on Epstein are completely suppressed there.
Yes.
Why did Fox bring it up again?
Well, I don't know, but I mean, it's possible that some people in Fox sense that there is a bigger story there, and that there are bigger that there's evidence against some very powerful people, and that they are gradually building the groundwork for such a thing. Or possibly it's your theory that you expressed a few days in our previous video, that they're making a kind of threat in the context of the Trump impeachment proceedings. They're saying, if you really go after Trump, well, we've got all these other things with Epstein which we could bring up. I don't know. And, one shouldn't speculate too wildly. Can I repeat what I've said repeatedly on these programs whenever we've discussed Epstein? All we are asking for is a full, proper, transparent investigation. Epstein's victims and the world, because we're all part of this in a sense, because this touches on the way the world actually works. We all deserve nothing less. We need to know who this man was, what his connections were, how he became so powerful and so rich and was able for so long to commit these absolutely appalling crimes in plain sight. That's not too much to ask. On the contrary, it's what every media organization that was doing its job, that's what they should be asking. It's terrible that they're not. And it goes directly to what you said earlier in this program.
Fox and Friends brought up Epstein. They were the first ones to bring it up when they brought the pathologist. Tucker Carlson brought it up. Judge Jeanine Pirro brought it up in her show. Fox ran with it for a couple of days, actually. I haven't heard anything since, but they did run with it. Alexander, can't. We can never find the truth about Epstein, because if the media, the mainstream media, runs with the truth about Epstein, it's going to basically bring down the entire globalist human trafficking pedophile cabal.
Well,
runs the world.
I am sure huge numbers of people think that. And I have to say, given the silence that there is, I can't say I'm surprised.
There's a conflict of interest.
Well, of course there is.
Because you have this huge story, but the people that rule over you are involved in this story.
They don't want you to know about it. And that's, I have to say, how it's increasingly starting to look.
I wonder if Barr's hands are tied. I mean, I don't know.
Well,
it's all sitting with the DOJ, I guess, and we're all kind of waiting.
Well, indeed, we're all kind of waiting, but let's not wait for too long or have too many hopes. As I said, I get the sense that the curtain is coming down, is being rung down on this story. We're probably never going to see the truth here.
We're never going to find out what happened.
That is a very, very disturbing thing.
All right. Alexander Mercouris, Editor-in-Chief of the Duran. Thank you very much. Guys, click on the subscribe button down below. Click on the notifications bell. Hit that like button. You can get an audio copy of this video on SoundCloud and on iTunes. You'll find links to those platforms in the description box down below. Please donate to us on PayPal, Patreon, and Subscribestar. You'll also find links to those platforms as well in the description box, and your donation really helps this channel out a lot. And Alexander, people can go to the Duran shop. Before we talk about the Duran shop, where you can pick up some great merchandise, I want everyone to know you can follow us on Telegram, where I'm posting all the articles, all the videos, and I will also be posting special deals and coupons for Duran merchandise in Telegram as well. Alexander, I really like Telegram because it's just freedom to speak my mind, to put whatever I want out there.
Absolutely.
It's great.
As you said, it's clean. That's the whole point about Telegram. It's clean. And in fact, you can what Alex has just told you, you can access our shop, our things through there. And what great things they are. Look at this magnificent 15-ounce perfect porcelain magic mug used by us to keep us refreshed so that we can do programs. Alex has his. Mine has the emblem of Moscow. Alex has that of Alpha Force, which is, of course, Russia's elite special forces unit. And they are amazing mugs. And in fact, all our merchandise is amazing. It's amazing quality, as many of our viewers who bought it have found. 100% cotton, all our shirts are. This is a beautiful polo shirt. I feel great in it. I look great in it. My wife always tells me so. So I have no doubt it must be so. Other people have told me so also. So there's no question about it. You can look equally great if you have a polo shirt like this, and you can have T-shirts, long sleeve T-shirts, V-neck shirts, all of them. Fantastic shirts, all 100% cotton, all with a Duran double-headed eagle there, which encompasses the whole world. It looks both to the east and the west. And you can also get hoodies, you can get hats, you can get stickers, you can get amazing things. They're all in our shop. Alex will tell you how to access it. So why not go to our shop, help the Duran, help yourself, and here's Alex to tell you how.
TheDuranShop.com. You'll find the link in the description box down below. And for Telegram, just search the Duran.com. You'll find that channel as well. Subscribe to it. Alexander Mercouris, Editor-in-Chief of the Duran. Thank you very much. Until next time, everybody, take care.